enhancing service delivery for commuters. Still in Lagos, where Lagos State government has arrested 36 persons engaging in street trading. This was disclosed in a statement released by the spokesperson for the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, Kunle Adesina. The suspect consisting of 34 males and 2 females were arrested in a joint operation by personnel of the Lagos Waste Management Agency and KAI officials. Some of those arrested were also displaying wares on the median along Ojo-Alaba Road. And now to Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo has given the sum of 1 million naira each to 39 wounded soldiers of the Southeast Operation Uduka operatives who were injured in their duty of fighting insecurity in the Southeast region. Soludo announced this during a special Salah luncheon to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir organized by the Commander Joint Task Force of Southeast Operation Unduka and Commander of 82 Division Nigerian Army, Major General Oluyemi Olatoye, held at the 302 Artillery Regiment on its military cantonment. He said that apart from the monetary gift, the wounded soldiers would also access free medical care and treatment in the state's hospitals for working tirelessly to ensure the state and the region are safe. Now to Adamawa, where Governor of the state, Amadu Fintiri, has approved a state-level committee to curb drug abuse. The committee, headed by the State Deputy Governor, Professor Kalatapwa Faratua, is to complement the effort of the Federal Anti-Drug Unit, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and the LEA. The Deputy Governor disclosed Fintiri's approval of the committee during a special church service in honor of the departing Commandant of the NDLEA in Adamawa State, Samson Agwalu. And Business Green Energy International Limited has concluded the first crude oil export from its newly constructed Otakipo onshore terminal, making a major milestone in Nigeria's oil and gas industry. The company said the export was completed when the off-taker vessel chartered by Shell lifted the maiden crude cargo from the terminal located in Otakipo Marginal Field, Rivers State. The terminal is Nigeria's first privately built and operated onshore crude export facility in over 5 decades. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominioncast. And that was the break news. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning. All right, welcome to the headlines from the dailies this morning on Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Still, I am Pat Aito. Remember, you can listen and watch and interact with us on www.dominion.org.mg. Likewise, you can follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Straight away, let's look at what the papers are saying this morning. From the Nigerian Tribune, we have this: Tinubu to confer national honors on select lawmakers. That's on page 4 of the paper, and with a rider to attend NAS special joint sitting on Thursday. Well, a lot of questions there. Who are the lawmakers, elected lawmakers? What have they done for the constituency or even for Nigeria? Well, let's see. Who are the lawmakers? We have this beside it. We have SEC warns public against investing in Punisher coin, and that's some $. That's on page 7 of the paper, and we have a congratulatory message flowing in for our president. That's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There's much from, no really, we have those two stories as the headlines from the Nigerian Tribune. And away from that, we'll flip straight to The Nation. And The Nation too has this congratulatory message from for our president. And with this 3 headlines here, we have Lagos fully aligned with Tinubu, says Sanwo-Olu. That's the governor of Lagos State. And beside it, we have domestic forest inflow, highest in 6 years, with a rider. CBN gives validation. That's on page 4 of The Nation. And we have this on page 2 and page 2 of The Nation. Alake in Australia varsity over mining partnership. Well, not Alba. This is the Minister of Mining. That's talking about Dele Alake in Australia varsity over mining partnership. And the last headline from The Nation this morning comes with security firm joins forces with Navy on Ondo waterways. We can read that on page 5 of The Nation. Away from The Nation, we had straight to The Guardian. And The Guardian comes with us one: businesses leverage price adjustments to rein in forex losses, claim books. And that's on page 6 of The Guardian. It's come with so many headlines this morning. And we have those when troops uncover 27 illegal oil sites, arrest 43 in the Niger Delta area, and that's on page 29 of The Guardian. And still from the page 29, politics here. Kwankwaso receives 1,230 APC supporters to NNPP. Still Ondo, we have Ondo PDP berates Aiyedatiwa's refusal to complete Akeredolu's projects. That's one thing that we'll always talk about. Continuity in governors, it's something that is lacking in Nigeria, and we need to look into that. That's on page 7 of The Guardian. And on page 5 of the same paper, we lost millions to the bar cancellation, Kano government laments. We lost millions of naira or dollars to Doba cancellation, Kano government laments. Reason behind this was because one of the security chiefs of the emir was killed, and emir was like, no, there won't be any Doba festival that's this year. Away from that, we have this: Lagos political storms clear as Tinubu forgives Sanwo-Olu in GAC brokered truce. That's on page 6 of The Guardian. What's behind this? Well, there was a picture going viral last weekend, where where Mr. President actually did not exchange pleasantries with the governor of Lagos State, and people were like, "Oh, something is happening. There's a cold war between them." And now Sowore is saying, "No, it is not. It's just a matter of time. Well, it's a normal thing. Son and father do have disagreement, and it has been settled." Well, that's a good one. Well, we'll head straight to the economy here from The Guardian. Still, we have economy back on track, but not yet. Not yet. Uhuru says, not yet. Bagudu is saying that, says Bagudu, not yet. We have not seen the impact of economy being on track. Masses are actually lamenting. We are lamenting. I'm a part of them. We are lamenting that our economy is not stable. So we have this economy back on track, but not yet, says Bagudu. And still from The Guardian, we have this June 12th, Tinubu to address NAS, confer national honors on lawmakers. Page 3 of The Guardian. There's a question I'm asking. Who are these people? Down below it, we have Serap Ariwa urged Tinubu to drop APC Rex, fear manipulation. And lastly, from The Guardian, we have imperative of full disclosures in Emefiele's 753 Abuja duplexes. All that you can find from The Guardian newspaper this morning. Away from that, we head straight to Punch. Ground rent. 34 embassies risk closure Tuesday, and riders, FCTA, probes PDP, FIRS, others payments. Tinubu approved extension ends today, and Germany, Russia, Turkey on defaulters list. When I read this, and I was like, all those embassies were coming to say they don't owe anything. Where is this coming from? Mismanagement or corruption is in there. Well, away from that, we have Disco's raise bills 107% despite poor power. That's on page 21 of The Punch. Still from The Punch, we have Matawale, Zamfara governor, face off over defection plot. It's going to happen. PDP, APC. We're going to have more of that. Well, 2027 is around the corner. That's The Punch newspaper. You can pick up The Punch newspaper and read more. Well, away from The Punch, let's head straight to the Daily Trust. Daily Trust has this late story. 2027 division in Tinubu's base. What does that mean? Tinubu's base, and there's the vision. There's a big one. Well, you can read up on page 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust. And from the Daily Trust, we have this: ACF to president prioritize governance over re-election. I think that should be Mr. President's priority now, and not re-election. If you're there for 4 years and people can feel the impact positively, it will be good. Your name will not, people will remember your name for good. But now that you're prioritizing 2027 re-election, something serious. We have security issues there. We have Naira devaluation. We have inflation in every of our sectors. Education is dwindling. Here, name it. Masses and minimum wage is nothing to write home about. So, ACF, I will suppose Arewa Consultative Forum to Mr. President prioritize governance over re-election. And we have Democracy Day. President to address joint session of NAS. Daily Trust is missing something here. You remember from the 2 newspapers that read earlier, I said Mr. President is going to confer honor on some lawmakers. Well, I'm still asking why and who are the lawmakers. We will see. We will see. So we have this from the Daily Trust as well. Naval officer stabbed to death in Kaduna. This a metro, this human angle interest story. This is sad. Down below the Daily Trust, we have this Hajj. How 7 Nigerian pilgrims died in Saudi Arabia. This is not too good. This is not too good. And down below it, we have resident experts raise alarm over state to FCT abattoirs. That's on page, well, the page is not really showing. Oh, page 26 of the Daily Trust. We have top contenders square up for a number of governorship. That's on page 12. And the last story from there, Kano GSM market fire. Traders count losses. That's on page 6 of the Daily Trust. Away from Daily Trust, we head straight to the point. The point this morning is saying that Tinubu reconciles with Sanwo-Olu, forgives past differences, and riders. LGAC convoked meeting to seek clemency for governor. Others. And Sanwo-Olu rubbishes baseless media speculations, denies rift with president. And from the point newspaper, we have a mid-drop in oil prices. Nigeria earns 10.2 trillion naira revenue in 4 months with a rider. Oil-producing states gets highest allocation as FAAC shares hit 6.58 trillion naira. And from the Point newspaper, Matawale was Zamfara governor Lawal to APC. You remember? The older newspaper reported that there was this face-off between Matawale and Zamfara governor, that's Lawal. So now the Point is reporting it like, oh, it was Zamfara governor Lawal to APC. And stock market sustained weekly rally on wings of that's from a telecommunication. Others as investor gain 1.8 trillion naira. That's from the Point newspaper. We have this one also inside the Point newspaper. Ojo Delba Festival critical to local economy, global visibility. Governor Dapo Abiodun is talking there. Well, that's all we have from the Point newspaper this morning. And we have the West. The West comes with this headline, Ojo Delba 2025 is about a spectacular fusion of fashion, culture and tradition, like what Samson said earlier, like lots of fashion. I mean, you look at the attires are like they're beautiful, colorful. That's good. And away from that, we have Tinubu forgives Sanwo-Olu as Lagos APC leaders prostrate in apology. That's on page 8 of the West. Still from the West newspaper, 2027 election, Sarah urges Tinubu to replace APC affiliated INEC commissioners. And a lot of news story here, but I'll read them. We have this one, politics, Osun APC governorship aspirant quote Aregbesola amid party tomorrow. That's on page 5 of the West. And human angle story here, mob leeches suspect after trader is fatally stabbed in Ogun State. And that's on page 8 of the West. Iluaje submerged as flood displaces dozens in Oyo. Remember, that's exactly what we're talking about. You dumping refuse indiscriminately could cause death. And for anyone, I mean, for families that stays in the swampy area, it is time for you to run for safety. I mean, when there is life, there is hope. So don't think, oh, this cause for panic. No, we're not here to put fear in you. But what we're trying to tell you is because of the prediction by Nigerian Meteorological Agency, that's NIMET, saying that we will have a thunderstorms and rains from Sunday to Tuesday. So you need to run for safety. I mean, run to a place that you know you can be there and do your needful, do the work you're supposed to do. Well, and the last one here that I will read to you from the West is PDP accuses Ayedatiwa of abandoning Akeredolu's project, and that's on page 12 of the West. Well, that's what we can take on the headlines from the dailies this morning on the program Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Well, when it's written, it's a bit time for analysis with our guest in the studio. Good morning. Thank you so much for watching Dominion Television. It's still daybreak on Dominion Television here in Ibadan. So welcome you to Headlines Analysis segment. I'm being joined in the studio by a public affairs analyst, Mr. Afolabi Afolami. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm fine. How are you too?
Fine. Hope you had enough meat during this Salah celebration.
I try to. Because we all know what is happening in the country, and that will make me to talk about this Nigeria economic back on track under Tinubu. Bagudu is saying that. I
know that is a media publication from the presidency. For every person that is in power, they will look for ways to balance up their activities, but a little kind of propaganda for people to
balance up their activities. And why should that be?
Well, this is our own. I can say that is our own kind of way of projecting what we form to be doing, we form to be doing. Because when you talk about Nigerian economy moving faster or growing better under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you look at the statistics, you look at the things that have made such. You go down to the grassroots, you look at the face of the people, you check the what has been the actual areas they are talking about. If it's in the area of food, if it's in the area of job, employment, if it's in the area of our infrastructure, talking about companies, new companies, being springing up. If it's the area of, these are the things that you check to know if we are doing better. And then I wouldn't say that even the rate of japa under this presidency is the highest so far I can record, and it is in record. And we can also see that in the case, as soon as the president came to power and declared his policies, things jump up. We never experienced before.
To you, it's a no-no.
It's always a no-no. It's just a no-no. Not only for me, for ordinary Nigerians. It's a no-no. It's just that.
Are you speaking for ordinary Nigerians now?
I'm an ordinary Nigerian.
Are you?
I am. I'm not a political elite. I'm not in the cabinet.
But she to say you killed like 4 rams here.
Well, that's for shit. You who have killed and never wants to share.
Well, that's on a lighter note. Well, away from that, let's look at this. Tinubu to confer national honors on selected lawmakers to attend NAS special joint sitting on Thursday.
Yeah.
Who are the lawmakers? I keep on asking.
Who are the lawmakers? These are the people who have benefited the presidency.
What are the criteria?
In his policy making, and they have done well. This is the first government that will pass a law into power within a particular day, and it becomes a policy into power. It becomes a law, and that was the national anthem that was reversed to the old national anthem. It's not. We have never seen that before. It never passed through the normal long first sitting, second sitting. And if that, I keep on telling people, if that can be possible, if that alone can be possible, then it means nothing is impossible. Why the dragging of so many policies? Why the dragging of so many laws that are yet to be passed into law? Those kind of bills that have been taken to the House of Assembly, the Senate, the House of Rep, and still waiting to be approved, or seeking for a kind of joint sitting or community hearing and stuff. We never had the opportunity of hearing on the national anthem, and everybody is singing it right now. Okay,
let's have a rough selection now. Who do you think among the lawmakers that Mr. President will confer this honor to?
Well, number one of them is already there, Mr. Senate President, who even came up openly to say that the Senate is giving a nod for the president's second term. It's in the public domain. It's not hidden. And we also know that some of them, we know people that will be benefiting from this. The Senate President, the Speaker, and some other members whose only being there is for their own personal interests.
All right, because of our time, let's quickly look at this. There's this video that went viral last weekend where Governor Sanwo-Olu and Baba, that's our president, were not in, well, would I say they were in Cold War. And now it's coming to say, I've forgiven you. What do you think? What do you think could be the cause of that Cold War initially, and why the sudden forgiveness?
And it is the politics played in Lagos. Obasa was once taken away and was reinstated. It is in the public domain. It's an open kind of, let me say, a show of our own modern democracy, where a sitting lawmaker will come up to say they are impeaching their speaker, and who has been away, and appoint another person within the house. The right to appoint a speaker has nothing to do with anybody voting from outside. It has to do with the members of our House of Assembly who would deem it fit that this person has not performed credibly well, with whichever way they see it, either financial recklessness, without policy not backing up, on time. But this man has been away, and the House of Assembly came up to say they are impeaching him. Before that time, you have seen a kind of loggerhead between the speaker and the state governor, who at one point sent in list of nomination for commissioners and was.
Well, I wish we have enough time to talk about.
So Baba knows that second time someone who wants to play the first time Ambode that will make him not to get his second time ticket.
I wish we have enough time to talk about this, but then because of our time, will I say 2 minutes? In 1 minute, is that division in Tinubu's base?
Already there's division in Tinubu's base. We can see that in the outcome of the primaries that was conducted in Lagos. Yeah. But you know, they know how to settle their case. They will come back again. As long as Tinubu is still in power and is still on ground, is still alive, the APC Lagos will still submit their so-called power under Baba.
And you don't think there's a problem for Mr. President?
I don't think it's a problem because he has his people. At every constituency, he has his people. He knows how best to use them, and he's making good of them.
You know how to use them?
Yeah, you know how best to use them.
All right, we still have this news. Ground rent. 14 days lapsed today. 14-day grace lapsed today. And FCT, Federal Capital Territory, here some wiki, has named some embassies being part of people that are owing or companies owing ground rent. And those people have come up to say, no, we are not. What is playing out here?
Wike is somebody that everybody knows, has been a very controversial person. I want to believe that if those people have proof of payment before now, and it is just that the man is increasing the ground rent, then they should present it. No, I will not support anybody coming on board, especially the embassies that we are not enjoying many benefit from in their own country, their own territory, to have come here and not want to pay ground rent. But if this person, the so-called Minister for Federal Capital Territory, is making use of so-called power to show and you know, beat some people to their door that he is in power now, and this is, I don't think that is fair. Well, we should do anything what we ever to do and present Nigeria in a very good image. We should understand that people outside the world are watching us and seeing what we are doing. We should not remember that power is not forever. It's transient, and after this time out, some other person will come in. Nobody has stayed in the Federal Capital Territory for more than 8 years.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Afolabi, a public affairs analyst, for coming on the program this morning. I wish we have an ample time to talk about this.
I wish so too.
Very soon we will. All right, it's a wrap on today's headlines and analysis segment on Daybreak Live. Coming up right after is the break, Big Story with Samson Balogun. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having me.
show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. And you are tuned in to The Big Story, where headlines meet heartbeats, and the issues that matter most are brought to the surface. Today we dive into the growing crisis that threatens homes, livelihoods, and even lives across the nation. Flooding in Nigeria, the fight for survival. From the rising waters in riverine communities to overflowing urban drainages, Nigerians are braving the tides of a disaster that seems to return stronger with each passing year. What's driving these floods? Where does responsibility lie? With nature or with us? And more importantly, how are Nigerians fighting back? Stay with us as we unpack the facts, hear from the voices on the ground, and explore the urgent need for lasting solution. Samson Balogun is my name. Flooding in Nigeria is no longer an occasional disruption. It has become a recurring nightmare for millions. In 2022 alone, over 600 lives were lost and millions displaced. Talk about what happened in Niger State a few weeks ago. Year after year, cities and villages are drowned in grief and uncertainty, with many still waiting for a recovery that never seems to be coming. Yet, behind the headlines are real people, children clinging to rooftops, farmers watching their crops disappear, mothers praying for safety, and emergency workers risking everything to save lives. This is not just a story about weather, it's a story about survival, resilience, and the urgent call for action in the face of a changing climate and crumbling infrastructure. Now, as we explore the fight for survival, we must ask some questions. How do we prepare, prevent, and even protect the people? Because this is no longer just about flooding. It's our future. Good morning and welcome to The Big Story once again. I am Samson Balogun. I will not be doing this alone this morning. I've got experts on the line for you. And of course, we'll be talking about the causes, solutions, and how badly flooding has damaged the economy in some places in Nigeria, and how well the government can prepare ahead of next time. I have with me on the line this morning my guest, Professor Grace Olukoyi, Professor of Urban Planning and Environmental Management, Lee City University, Ibadan. Good morning to you, Professor. Hello. Good morning to you. Okay, seems like the network is a little bit down. But then going forward, there is news that the Guardian newspaper, that NIMET has warned that from Sunday till Tuesday, there's a likelihood that there will be heavy rainfall in some places in Nigeria. And states are mentioned, including Oyo State. But of course, how prepared are the people? How prepared is the government? How well has the government sensitized the people to know exactly what to do, when, and how? It is not just about saying things to people. Have we trained the people on how to go about it? These are more we will unpack on today's edition of The Big Story on Dominion Television, your channel of choice. Keep the conversation going. Link up with us on our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast. Do well to subscribe to that channel. And of course, you can also link up with us on all other social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, even LinkedIn. It is at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it is at Dominioncast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Now, Professor Grace Olukoyi is online. Good morning to you, Professor.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure.
All right. We've been talking about flooding in Nigeria, and we are talking about the battle for survival for the people of Nigeria. Recently, places like Niger State, Plateau State, Benue State, they have suffered the crisis of flooding. But of course, I want to ask you, what are the key environmental urban planning factors contributing to the frequent flooding in Nigeria?
Okay. Thank you very much for this question. Flooding, like any other environmental crisis, are not solely natural. They're not just being driven by natural forces. So for flooding, it has been established in the literature and with empirical observations that human activities are great driving forces. And what do I mean? Let me list some of these drivers that we can have in urban spaces. One of such is removal of vegetation cover, which could have allowed the water to percolate, which could have allowed the water to go freely. We have removed some of the vegetation covers and we have changed them with interlocks, cemented floors, and all that. Also, in terms of our land use policies, we have not been able to efficiently follow zoning and development control standards and guidelines. There are, in principles, buffer zones, floodplains should be allowed to be in their natural way. But go around our cities today, you will see a lot of commercial buildings, residential buildings along the floodplains, in which we do not allow the water to breathe. And don't forget, water will always find its course. So whenever we block the buffer zone by removing the vegetation cover there, by putting structures, we are actually creating opportunities for flooding. Another urban challenge is waste disposal into our waterways. Go around our cities, you will see that most of our drainages are blocked with debris. We just throw trash everywhere. Few days ago, in the commemoration of World Environment Day, we are looking at beating the plastic waste, beating plastic pollution. And one of the issues we raise is that generating this waste is not even the problem. The problem is that the carrying capacity of the earth, of our municipal governments, of our waste management boards to take care of this waste is too low compared to the amount of plastic waste we are generating. So when we dump all these debris into the water channels, into the waterways, into our drainages, they have a multiplier effect that whenever rain falls, the runoff will not be able to go freely, and then it will come into our buildings. Another challenge that is related to urban planning issue is the misuse of our water bodies. By nature, water will love to just be freely. But whenever we are using our water bodies to do some other things that are not ecologically friendly, definitely when it rains, the water is bound to move beyond the bank. And lastly is the poor infrastructural element of our urban spaces. Most of the time, the culverts, bridges are already overburdened, they're overstretched, and some are not even in a structural integrity condition. So when it rains heavily, there's every tendency that the flood will wash away our covered bridges. And we can all see the challenge of it. Just in the last couple of days, we have Mokwa Bridge being affected by flooding. And we can see how that has actually affected the livelihood, the movement of the people, the health, and even the governance system. So the money we're supposed to take to use for some other developmental issues are not going to that place now to provide relief materials for the people. See how many farmlands have been washed away. See how many lives we have lost. See how many properties were washed away by the flood. So this is a big challenge, but it is not too bad beyond repair or intervention. So one of the interventions I always want to recommend is that each one of us should be good stewards of environment.
Okay, very quickly before we go down that lane, Professor.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to ask you, how much of this that we are currently talking about, flooding in Nigeria, what percentage of that is caused by natural disaster, and what percentage, judging by what you know, your experience about this, how much of it is caused by what people have actually done to themselves in terms of dumping refuse on waterways, not giving room for water to actually breathe, as you rightly mentioned?
Sorry, would you like to take that question again?
Okay.
How many percentage of what?
Yeah, let me put it this way. How much of the flooding is due to natural climate variability versus human-induced factors?
Okay, thank you very much. On the national scale, we want to appreciate NIMET, that's Nigerian Meteorology Agency. They always come up with early warning messages to alert us as citizens by even telling us, oh, this the amount of rain that is coming, and the following states will be affected. I remember at the onset of many season this year, NIMET spread out those states that are likely to be affected. But the question is this: after we have gotten the early warning alerts, what did we do differently in preparation for the event? Most of the time, as Nigerians, we don't really make any preparation. Our farmers will hear the alerts, they will listen to the alerts, but how often are they able to appropriate that knowledge into actions in terms of their planning for planting season, and what do they do, what do they not do? I think we need more in this area, and I want to request that even though we are having the NIMET messages at a national scale, we will need more of it now at a local scale, in which in each local government there could be opportunities to raise early warning alerts that this is coming, so that even when there is a need for people to be evacuated from the particular zone, it is done earlier enough before the disaster comes. Also, the amount of meteorological stations we have, we may need to increase them. The more, the better. I know in some states we have like 3, 4, 5. There may be a need to have more. This is because there are local contextual drivers that may still impact, that may still affect the severity and frequency of extreme weather events. So take, for instance, in Oyo State, we have a station in Iseyin, we have a station in Shaki, we have stations in Ibadan. So, what happens in some other parts, even within our Okeogun region now, we have Iseyin and Shaki. I can tell you that between the two distances, there could have been local forces that will still change the tempo or the dynamics of amount of precipitation and the resultant floods. So, in that wise, we need more meteorological stations, and more importantly, delivering the climate data with local contents, in which the local people will be able to flow with it. And beyond just giving the data, we need more of stakeholders' engagement so that the community will be aware more and more. And they will not just see it as a natural occurrence or the act of God. Like I said earlier, it is more triggered and more influenced by human activities of the way we run our land use system, the way we respond to urban planning, and the way we even respond to climate data alerts from our meteorological agency.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to ask this because there are insinuations in town. Some people are saying there might be consequences of overlapping mandates among federal, state, and local government authorities as regards managing flood in Nigeria. Do you get that?
I didn't get you. Can you take it again, please?
Okay. What are the consequences of overlapping mandates and among federal, state, and local authorities in managing flood?
Okay. Yes, in Nigeria, we have different agencies that are in charge of management of environmental issues. Like you said, there are overlapping, especially the federal, the states, and the local government. In fact, as it is now, most of the time, the local government is, if not almost helpless on some issues. We know that local government autonomy bill was signed, but we are still waiting for that to take effect, both for their fiscal policy and other administrative issues. So this overlapping, we can see it in a way that even when there are issues on drainages or some roads, it will be claimed that, oh, it is a federal government, it's a federal road, and nothing is done. Oh, it is a state road, and nothing is done. Even some of the dams that we have around under River Basin Authority, the information about when the dam is open, when it is closed, most of the time is not being linked up with the communities. And it's because the headquarters is somewhere and the local people are not carried along in the activities of the River Basin Authority. So we need more effective collaborations between the different levels of government. There are agencies that they are available at the federal and they have their state counterparts. There's a need for them to work together. And there's also a need to strengthen the capacity of these government agencies in responding to environmental issues, not just flooding. For instance, if there is any emergency in relation to flooding in any community in Oyo State, how possible it is for the LCDA, the local government, to respond first while waiting for the state government to not come to their aid. We discovered that that capacity to respond is so weak. So there's a need to build that capacity, both in terms of personnel, increasing the skills, building up the skills of the personnel in charge of all these activities. And also, there's a place for training and retraining, because things are changing. What we know yesterday is not the same thing as what is happening now. We also need more opportunities for the low level of government to understand that whatever happens, the first hit of it will come to the local people. And so, rather than castigating local communities, indigenous people, we should rather build synergy with them, co-learn with them, co-create opportunity for adaptation. And lastly, this will lead me to say that indigenous knowledge system that we already have in our different communities should be integrated even into the flooding management schemes. The local people have been around for a while in those communities, and to a certain extent, they have basic knowledge about certain happenings. Let's affect such, let's integrate such into the adaptation scheme or resilience scheme that we may be building for our different communities. So I think when we do that, it's all about co-creation of knowledge, co-learning. And when we do it right, I can tell you that responding to flooding and any other environmental or extreme weather events is likely to be better in our context. Thank you very much.
All right. Very quickly, we know that rural-urban migration is almost inevitable in a country like Nigeria, judging by the current situation of the economy. But then, when you are traveling, you realize that majority of places that used to be farmlands, there are now estate gates there, which will end up in deforestation. Most of the trees will be cut down, and then houses will be built. Now, that being said, are there sustainable urban design models that Nigerian cities can adopt to reduce flood crisis and risks?
Okay. In every nation, developmental agenda will dictate what is going to be done and what will not be done. My reaction to this question would be that as a nation, do we have developmental policy? I'm aware that the urban development policy, the revised edition has just been presented to the public a few days ago. Yes, I think last month or so. But before then, in different states, do we really go by that guideline of land use of where what will be? The reason why we are having most farmlands being turned into estates now is not just because we need those estates for housing, as it may seem, but land grabbers are actually just using that for the purpose of land banking. And go around, you will see that we have that in most peri-urban. If you travel between Moniya and Esen, you will see a lot of that. As you go between Ologunero and
Ido, Erua,
going towards Ido, you will see that almost every year. We need to be more active in terms of implementing the developmental agenda of each state. Until we are ready to do that, the scenario will continue to be played before us. Those lands are not being used for agriculture. They have been sold away as estates. But you get there, there's no anything there. There's no even basic services being put in place. The only thing you see is that you see a big fence.
The
and
gates.
They have sold it out to many people and nothing more than that. So for me, it's all about our tendencies as humans for consumption. Let me just have more, let me have more. And it has implications for us. If the arable lands are no more available, don't forget that we affect the food security at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
All right, I want to talk about the issues of dams in Nigeria. Not long ago, the Alau Dam in Borno State, there was a mishap there where so many people lost their lives as the dam actually collapsed. Also, talking about neighboring country, Cameroon, when they release water from that part of the country, we know that so many people actually suffer as regards flooding. Now, the question is, day before yesterday, that was on Saturday, the governor of Borno State, Babangana Umar Zulum, His Excellency, was actually admonishing the federal government to see to the fact that Alau Dam is restored, because there might be that that same dam will cause mayhem in the near future. But then, should the government have waited this long before the dam is fixed? And what is the state of other dams in Nigeria? And what is the hope of the people living close by?
Okay, thank you very much. Creation of dams are done with objectives. Provision of water, storm control, agro-allied activities, especially irrigation, fishery, and so on and so forth. But you may want to ask, how many of our dams are effectively being used for the said objectives? Number two, what is the quality of the structures that we have been put in place for these dams? Number three, how about periodic maintenance? If you go around, many of these dams are lacking periodic maintenance they're supposed to be. And that's why after sedimentation, silting, and so many things, you will discover that the carrying capacity of the dams are affected. Even where they're supposed to serve as waterworks for production of water to the citizens, most of the time they are incapable of fulfilling that mandate. So as a country, we need to wake up. It's not just to have dams, but it's a call to action that we maintain these dams, both their civil and engineering aspects, the social and ecological aspect. You have mentioned the issue of releasing of dams at certain times of the year. It's not just really the water from the Cameroon. We have all our even local dams. They do also, all of them, they do release water. Whenever Ogun River Basin is releasing water at this place in Nabe, very close to Abeokuta, the people in Ikorodu and parts of Ogun State, they normally get affected too. And if you have that one in Cameroon being released, you know that the journey will start affecting us right from the Niger River and down. So, for now, there are no engineering solutions that the water should not be released, because if the water is not released, it's another trouble for the river basin and all that. But in terms of communication with the other stakeholders, that's the major issue. So that there is a communication between the local communities and the dams authority that will allow a kind of understanding, and each person will know that, oh, okay, by September, so, the water will be released. So people will prepare. There's every tendency with us as FEMA that when we have the pre-knowledge of a thing and we are able to prepare for it, we adapt better rather than when it comes as a shock. So that's just what I would love to say. And then we may need to now work more with nature by making use of these damped water for effective agroforestry activities. So let's continue to use them for irrigation. Most of the food we eat in the south is coming from the north. And with my little empirical research, I discovered that in that arena, in that space, they make use of irrigation a lot for their vegetables, for so many other things that they bring down to the south. So for us now in the south, how many of our dams are we using for irrigation purpose? But we need to do that. And I mean serious mechanized irrigation. That will allow the planting season to go beyond just one planting season, the rainy season alone. Be able to walk around the year. And I tell you that if we are able to do that, the issue of food insecurity will also be dealt with. So thank you very much for this question.
Now, very quickly, before we round off on this show this morning, let's talk about technology and innovation as regards flood control in Nigeria. Are there innovative tools or technologies available? I mean, are Nigerian cities or Nigeria utilizing any of these tools? Or are we still behind in terms of flood control and, of course, alert system? At least they will know that something is about to happen, and then they nip it in the bud even before it happens.
Okay. Yes, there are innovations all over the world and in different spaces. But I always want to encourage that the innovations should be adapted to the context. The fact that we have seen something working in one other country, it's good to perfect such a technology, but before you bring and do cut and paste, we need to look at the context. Do we have the adaptation capacity for it? If not, such a technology will just be a waste. I'm aware of the restoration of nature in so many parts of the world now, that areas that they have been degraded, they're now trying now to bring green back to it. So such technology is beautiful. We just need to reawaken it and to give maximum support to individuals, corporations that are into it. Again, we have the innovation today of keeping the urban greens. So you go everywhere now, they're talking about the green economy, green infrastructure. And now it's been advocated that, okay, instead of you to have the concrete floors in the whole of your plots, leave certain percentage that you can use for the greening. Also on our streets, let's continue to have the urban green corridor, which can even be on our highway and all that. It will provide the cooling effect during the heat stress, and also it will serve as the windbreakers during windstorm. And the water that these plants will also be taking and all that, all together, it will help us in the carbon sink, which all together we have a positive implication on climate and extreme weather events. So there are quite a lot of innovations that are related to urban planning, that are related to engineering that we can adopt. But I always want to emphasize that they should be contextual. If they are not contextual, if they are not aligned with the local context, it will just be a waste of time and waste of resources. So we need more empirical data to work with, and this is the reason why research cannot be separated from policies. So in design adaptation policies for flooding and other environmental issues, we need more driven data that can support arguments, data that can support design and order. So it's a call that our academia, research institutes should continue to do this, and it also implies that 14 budgets for research and data gathering is not a waste. Because any policy or developmental agenda that is not backed up by adequate data, we eventually somersault.
All right, thank you so much, Professor.
We can do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Grace Olukoya, for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be part of the show.
We do hope that next time we'll call you, you will be here.
Hopefully, because we are working together to create a more resilient environment.
Thank you so much. Professor Grace Olukoya is the Professor of Urban Planning and Environment Management, Lead City University, Ibadan. And now that takes us to the end of this segment of Daybreak Live on Dominion Television this morning. You have been watching The Big Story on Daybreak Live. Today's focus on flooding in Nigeria, the fight for survival, reminds us that this crisis is not distant or abstract. It's personal, it's pressing, and it's preventable. Now, it is time for policymakers, communities, and citizens to come together, not just to mop up after the damage, but to build systems that can withstand the storm. And then the waters may rise, but so must our awareness, our response, and our resolve. Until next time, that we'll meet on this segment of the show, The Big Story on Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Samson Balogun is my name. Bye for now.
Hello and good morning to you. Thanks for joining us on Daybreak Sports. I'm Boluwaji Ogumola. All right, let's kickstart this morning from the Nigerian National League, where second-half goals from Jonathan Okechukwu and Mojeed Adekunle were all Cry FC needed as they secure the second spot in the Southern Conference A to book a place in the Nigerian National League Super 8 playoffs. Okechukwu gave Cry FC the lead in the 49 minutes of the game with a brilliant close finish before Adekunle restored the lead with 15 minutes left to play in the game. Cry FC are now joined Warri Wolves to book a playoff score ticket as the top two teams in the Conference A. Warri Wolves playing at their home turf hammered Dakada FC 4-2, while Sporting Lagos and Solution FC settled for a 3-3 draw at the Oka City Stadium. The home victory was enough to see Warri Wolves secure a ticket to the season-ending Super 8, built for later this month at a yet-to-be-determined venue. While other teams that have since booked their place in the Super 8 are Yobe Desert Stars, Wiki Tourist, Doma FC, Barua Football Club, and Kuma, the Khan Khalifa and Crown FC. And there you have all of the teams. Just one spot left to occupy. From the Nigerian National League, let's cross to the MPFL, where President Ahmed Tinubu will host the newly crowned MPFL champions, Remo Stars, at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The reception is expected to take place before the commencement of the 2025-2026 MPFL season. Well, renowned MPFL journalist Ojekiri Aikoje revealed on his X handle over the weekend that President Bola Tinubu is set to host the MPFL champions Remo Stars at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. He confirmed that a memo requesting photo opportunities and handshakes for domestic league champion was actually sent to the president as far back as December 2024. And of course, recall that Remo Stars clinched the 2024-2025 MPFL title last month, marking a historic achievement for the Ikenne-based club. Alongside Rivers United, Remo Stars will represent Nigeria in next season's CAF Champions League. Well, away from the Nigeria Premier Football League this morning, let me take you back to Friday, when Nigeria's Super Eagles came from behind to secure a 1-1 draw against Russia in an international friendly game decided in Moscow last Friday. The match took place at the iconic Luzhniki Stadium on Friday evening. Now, the hosts, as Russia, took the lead just before the half-hour mark through an own goal from Nigeria defender Semilogo Ajayi. However, in the second half of the game, Tolu Arokodare restored parity for the Super Eagles following a misplaced pass from the Russian goalkeeper. Nigeria will now shift their attention and, of course, their focus to the World Cup qualifiers in the coming days. And the Super Eagles are set to face Rwanda and South Africa later this year. Now, prior to the Russian fixture, remember that the Super Eagles won the Unity Cup Invitational Tournament in London after defeating Jamaica in the final that took place the week before. Now, away from the Super Eagles this morning, let's talk a bit of basketball on the continent of Africa, where River Supers head coach Ogo Odaudu has blamed the loss to US Monastir in the Basketball Africa League seeding game to a loss of concentration in the third quarter of the game. Nigerian champions River Supers succumbed to an 89-81 point loss to Tunisian powerhouse US Monastir in the final seeding game on Saturday. Now, the outcome of the game means that River Supers will have to square up against Rwanda's APR in the Basketball Africa League, of course, Season 5 quarterfinals, holding later today at 3 p.m. And that's River Supers' next game. While US Monastir faces defending champions Petro de Luanda also later on today. Well, since we're already in basketball, let's talk about the NBA, where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 34 points as the Oklahoma City Thunder defeated the Indiana Pacers 123-107 points in Game 2 of the NBA Finals to level the series at 1-1. Well, let me inform you that the Pacers snatched victory in the opening game of the finals last Friday. But on Sunday, the Thunder dominated from start to finish. Game 3 of the best-of-7 series, of course, we hold later on Thursday. And of course, taking a look at that particular one, the next one actually, and there you have the NBA fixtures. Now, this is the Basketball Africa League fixtures, and of course, the next one is for the NBA. Well, away from basketball totally, let's talk about the world. Yes, there you have the NBA. Well, then let's move to the world of tennis, where Coco Gauff clinched the French Open title at the weekend following a very good victory over Aryna Sabalenka, winning 6-7, 6-2, 6-4 in the finals decided on Saturday. And of course, we must say congratulations to her. Fantastic victory for the American, winning it for the first time as an American since Serena Williams did that. Of course, let's talk about the men. Decided yesterday, defending champion Carlos Alcaraz recovered from 2 sets down, 7-3 championship points on the way to beat Jannik Sinner in an incredible French Open men's singles final decided yesterday. Alcaraz's reign on the Roland Garros clay looked to be over when world number 1 Jannik Sinner closed in on victory, of course, with 5-3 in the fourth set. But of course, the 22-year-old Spaniard showed extraordinary brilliance to achieve that victory, like you saw on your screen earlier. Big congratulations to him right there. Let me inform you that in a very electrifying atmosphere on Sunday, Carlos Alcaraz produced the finest performance of his career to claim a fifth major title. Don't forget, he's already won the Wimbledon twice, French Open twice, and of course the US Open once, yet to clinch the Australian Open. Well, let's talk football now and talk about the UEFA Nations League, where Kylian Mbappe bagged a goal and an assist as France defeated Germany 2-0 in the Nations League bronze medal match decided on Sunday. Of course, Portugal in the final defeated neighbor Spain in the penalty shootout to settle a frantic final in Munich and of course win their second Nations League trophy. Cristiano Ronaldo pulled Portugal level at 2-2 in the 64th minute of the game, but there was nothing else to separate the two sides when the referee signaled the end of normal time. It was subbed off, that Ronaldo, before extra time, but of course, the Portugal captain was in tears on the turf as, of course, Ruben Neves slotted home the winning penalty yesterday. Congratulations to them, Portugal. 5-3, they won that one via penalty shootout after regulation time ended at 2-2. Once again, congratulations to Ronaldo and, of course, the Portuguese team. There you have on your screen matches to look forward to today, of course, in Europe as regards World Cup qualifiers. Kazakhstan will take on Macedonia, Belgium versus Wales, Italy versus Moldova, Croatia versus Czech Republic, Estonia will take on Norway, and Faroe Island will take on Gibraltar. And that's sports this lovely morning. Thanks for watching.
That was Daybreak Sports with Boluwaji Ogunmola. Welcome back to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Don't forget you can be a part of the conversation by linking up with us on all social media platforms. YouTube, subscribe to that channel. It is at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it is at Dominion Cast. You can also like and follow our pages on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It is at Dominion Broadcast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. Now, we head straight to Trendwatch. What's happening on social media? And of course, Martha is still with me.
A lot is happening there.
A lot is happening.
We have this one from this on-air personality that's talking about the Tanzania media personality, Mange Kimambi, cautioned Priscilla Ojo amid call for reform in Tanzania. I don't know how that one take concern of Molomo.
I mean, you see, sometimes people will have observations, but the way they put it out there, you know, might not really sit down well with people who are involved. I mean, we need you and Jokes to just sit down for the next 5 months. Tanzania media personality Mange Kimambi cautions Priscilla Ojo amid calls for reform in Tanzania. Yeah, there has been calls for reform in Tanzania, and there were soft protests that, look, we want things to get better in this country. But she feels that
Iyabo Ojo and
the wedding
Chuks
ceremony
is
has really taken the attention of so many
okay.
people. You know, I used to say that even in Nigeria, you know, by the time you want to talk about a certain thing, then something happens and then you shift your attention to something really irrelevant.
But I trust Mother Queen now. She
yeah,
gave it to her hot
back to back. You know, talking about, in fact, the point was, why would you consider my daughter and her husband's content to be, you know,
distraction,
a distraction, and then you even used a word that really did not sit down well with a queen mother. Like, you know, you don't say that to my daughter and the husband. I mean, if there's anything you want to say, please do it, but then don't drag these people into. And
do you know, the funnily enough, this lady is not even staying in Tanzania. I mean, she stays way far back, as she stays in America. So we're just hitting up on someone that is. And
these people we are talking about are residents of, as we speak, they live in Tanzania. Jokes is a Tanzanian. He lives in Tanzania. Priscilla, just married, has moved to Tanzania with the husband. So why would you? Sometimes you're even really
outside the shore of Tanzania and you were talking and you're ranting.
I mean, that's I
don't want to say you're ranting, sure.
But then, you know, a pastor actually came out to say.
Before a pastor even talked, there was this a comment there. One said, if for Emmanuel saying that Iyabo clocked her real good, that Tanzania girl should take our bitterness to somewhere else.
I mean, that for me, it's not just about the reform anymore. It's about
like
the hatred. Like what's so special in the wedding ceremonies that you have elongated this much? But then I think the Queen Mother did justice to that by giving, you know, hot response. And then let's talk about the pastor who saw the video being Nigerian president. I mean, it's there. God has anointed the video to be Nigeria's president, and he shall unite the country. Are we apart? I mean, I'm just asking.
We should ask the man. Maybe he's
because as far as I'm concerned, this is Nigeria.
Was it a prophecy, or he was sleeping, or he had that in his sleep?
Because this is a question they should ask him. Because obviously, if you have this kind of, we've had so many prophecies like this. Some actually came to pass, and some you will be asking questions.
That's still finding their way to.
I mean, it's just like that. But if he's saying this, maybe it's a way to get close to the video, or probably he saw it the right way and just wants to put it out there.
But he wants to trend.
Let's keep the fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens. At least 2027 is around the corner. Let's see if the video would run for president.
Run for?
I mean, to become president.
Have you seen any of his poster?
I mean, you can just wake up overnight and say, look, I want to run.
Overnight to do what?
To run
his
for
father
president.
is dead. No.
Okay, he's maybe. Not too young.
Wait. Maybe Osun State governor. Maybe the man is actually
about the video. He's not talking about
no. Maybe the man is mistaking the video for Osun State governor.
But he's still running for second time in office, so it means that that cannot be him. He sees the video. So let's see if by 2026 the video will say, "Look, I want to be president," or maybe after that 2031 is still close by. He might just decide to run for president.
You are trying to
so
tell me
yeah, it might be a futuristic prophecy.
It will be okay. Futuristic.
But well, let's check the comments. Eyi Tomilayo says, is Davido aware of this?
He's not. I'm his PA.
Is he even aware that he wants to be president?
He's just saying it on social media.
Okay. And then B_Bay says, B_Bay says, pastors, they trend past influencers now. Yeah.
Try doing it the way you like.
I think I should maybe think she's saying the truth, actually, because you have so many pastors who are actually right there. Don't forget, over the weekend, Pastor Paul Adefarasi was also in the news.
He said it was somebody
and they came out to debunk it that he doesn't even have a license to carry firearms in Nigeria. So what you saw in his hand is nothing Bible. Like that. I don't know.
Okay.
But then, what I saw wasn't the Bible, actually.
It was what?
Maybe a taser or something.
Hi.
But then, he said he doesn't have a license to a firearm, so let's just keep it right there.
Okay, we'll keep it that way. He only had license to Bible and anointing oil.
Away from there.
From there, we have this Wizkid and his partner Jada made first public appearance with their daughter at Tribeca Festival.
I mean, it's really good to actually see Machala out there. It's good to see Machala out there flaunting. You know, aside from you know, the first son, I think Bolu, that he has actually flaunted. You know, people have seen him with Bolu a lot of times, probably because he's a male child who actually looks so much like him. But then right now he's doing more for you know, the daughter he has with Jada. So that says a lot about the inclusiveness he actually, you know, practices in the family. It's not just about Bolu, it's about every other child. At least Bolu is not the only child.
At least I will take care of everyone over you.
Don't forget the video also. Just got Made back, and he's been there. You know, it's not just that. What we are saying now is not just about you playing, you know, fatherly role for the camera. But just it shows that he has always wanted to be there. He wants to be committed, and he's showing it. So Wizzy is also doing the same thing right now. So congratulations to Wizzy and Jada on the baby, and of course we wish them the very best.
All right, for that prophecy.
Well, I'm just saying, for the prophecy is...
it might not happen now.
It might not happen
maybe
now.
Later.
2031, 2035, 2039, 2043.
Okay.
The time is just
so everybody
there. The video is just...
Everybody will turn to musician.
The video is very young, so at 30, around 30, that should not be a big deal. At least in the next 20, 30
in this
years.
Our Nigeria,
I mean,
even when they pass the bill of not too young to run.
That's what I'm saying. In the next 20 to 30 years, it might just come out to say, I want to be
I'm not saying that though.
No, it's like that.
I'm not against the road prophecy. I am not saying that it will come to pass, but I am not saying that happening in Nigeria. It might be in another country.
Okay, we shall see. He's a citizen of America, Atlanta to be precise.
So he can be mayor.
Mayor of Atlanta. Well, we have to go on this show this morning. We say a very big thank you to everyone that has spent their money with us on Daybreak Live. We do hope that you enjoy that. And then they keep the conversation going. Link up with us on all social media platforms. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is at Dominion Broadcast. And on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, even LinkedIn, it is at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it is at Dominion Cast. Don't forget, you can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. We have to go. Today is Monday, but of course, some people are still observing the holiday, which is fine. But for us in the public service, where our job is to make sure that you are okay wherever you are, and you get to have, you know, the latest information as when you need it, we say a very big thank you for being here. Samson Balogun is my name. Keep safe out there and enjoy minimally.
All right, it's a wrap on today's episode of Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. We appreciate you so much for being there for us. Do have a good Monday. I am Pat Aito.